Cinderella, Julia Jamin. Once upon a time, there was a girl called Cinderella. She had a loving father, but he was often away. Her stepmother didn't like her, nor did her bad-tempered stepsisters. They made Cinderella stay in the kitchen all day long, washing dishes, sweeping floors, and looking after the fire. She even slept in the kitchen amongst the cinders. One day, they came running into the kitchen. "Look, Cinderella, an invitation from the king!" cried the squirky one. "And we are going to a ball!" cried the stroopy one. "At the palace!" "Us, not you!" they added, smirking. They began to argue about shoes and dresses. They were still arguing on the night of the ball when poor Cinderella had to get them dressed. When they had gone, she couldn't help feeling sad. "I wish I could go to the ball," she sighed. Suddenly, the gloomy kitchen lit up. Flash! "You can't, my dear." Looking up, Cinderella saw a kind old lady. What? Who are you?" "I'm your fairy godmother," said the old lady, "and I say you can go to the ball." "But how?" cried Cinderella. "In a coach, of course." The fairy godmother laughed. She sent Cinderella into the garden to get a pumpkin. Then she waved her magic wand. Flash! The pumpkin turned into a golden coach. "Now we need horses," said the fairy godmother. Let these mice up the cages, please." Cinderella did as she was told. The fairy godmother waved her wand and flash! 4 white horses stood before the golden coach. "Now," said the fairy godmother, pointing her wand at the cat, "all you need is a jolly coachman." Flash! "Now you can go to the ball," she cried. But Cinderella looked down at her old clothes. "What about my dress?" "Oh," laughed the fairy godmother, "I nearly forgot." She waved her wand again and flash! Looking down, Cinderella saw the most beautiful dress she had ever seen. "Put these on too," said the fairy godmother, giving her a pair of slippers. Made of glass, they fitted perfectly. "Now you're really ready," said the fairy godmother. "Have fun. Just remember one thing. You must be home by midnight." "When the clock strikes 12, all my magic will end. Your coach will turn back into a pumpkin, and your beautiful clothes will once again be rags." "I will remember," cried Cinderella as she climbed eagerly into the coach. "Thank you very much." Then the coachman flicked his whip, and the horses galloped into the starry night. Meanwhile, on the steps of the palace, the prince was bored. So many coaches, so many princesses, so many people to greet. Then another coach pulled up, and out stepped Cinderella. "Who is she?" he asked, for he had never seen anyone so lovely. But no one could tell him. No one knew who she was, not even her stepsisters. The stepsisters did not recognize Cinderella when they got close, but they did feel jealous. "Why does the prince not look at us?" they cried, for the prince looked only at Cinderella. "Why does he not dance with us?" they cried, when the prince asked Cinderella to dance again and again before he had fallen in love with her. As for Cinderella, she could have hardly believed what was happening. A handsome prince was dancing with her. She was so happy that she forgot the fairy godmother's warning, even when the clock started to strike midnight. 1, 2, 3. She danced on. 4, 5, 6. She danced on. 7, 8, 9. Suddenly she remembered it and began to run towards the door. Come back, called the prince, but Cinderella kept running. 10. She reached the door and ran down the steps as fast as she could. One of her slippers fell off, but she kept running. 11. Come back. She heard the prince calling as she looked around wildly. 12. Where are my coaches and horses? She cried. Suddenly, she began to walk home, back to the kitchen. I'll never see the prince again, she sighed. Meanwhile, the prince was determined to find the beautiful princess with whom he had fallen in love. Tomorrow I will search every house in the land until I found the owner of this glass slipper, he cried. Then I will marry her. Early next day, he set off with his page to begin the search. It was evening when they came to the house where Cinderella lived. The stepsisters were waiting. Me first! Screamed one. No, me! Cried the other. First one, then the other, tried to get her foot into the slipper. Sorry, said the page. Yours is too wide and yours is too long. Does anyone else live here? Me, said Cinderella, but come in quietly. Can I try? You, laughed the sisters. Get back into the kitchen! But they were too late. The page put the slipper on Cinderella's foot, and it was a perfect fit. The prince was gazing at her full of love. Will you marry me? He said. Yes, said Cinderella, who could see that he loved her even in rags. The prince was as kind as he was handsome. Cinderella was as happy as she ever thought she could be. So they were married and lived together till the end of their days in perfect harmony. The end.